And I'm Bill Good. A perfect storm has created a housing bubble in Canada that could lead to a drop in property values of nearly 40% in some markets. This according to a report by the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. The report says for the first time in 30 years, house price increases have climbed faster than historic comfort levels. Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, and Ottawa, according to the Centre. Now, housing bubble bursts are pretty rare in this country. So I've asked Don Campbell, author of 97 Tips for Canadian Real Estate Investors and president of the Real Estate Investment Network, to come on the program. Don Campbell, good morning.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me back.
What was your reaction to this report?
Well, I had to stop giggling first. At the same time that report came out, a C.D. Howe report came out, says, hey, everything looks very nice and stable in the Canadian real estate market. And unfortunately, the one that's got the majority of the coverage is, of course, housing bubble, because everyone loves that story.
First, let me get to Jamie. Jamie, hi.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Campbell.
Nice to hear from you.
We are going to have a devastating real estate collapse, not only on the housing market, but in the commercial real estate, continent-wide, and it is unavoidable. And
you know this because?
I know this because I know this. I have looked at all of the factors. I have studied this from all angles, and I have been calling this radio station, and people can hear my voice. I have argued with every financial expert.
But so far, you've never been right.
Well, if people go to youtube.com/thetruthparty, they can see that I have been right well in advance, month after month. And I'm going to give a speech on September 18th at the Art Gallery, and I only picked that place because it's free, because we don't have any money. And I'm going to explain this exhaustively to everybody, how it is unavoidable and how these experts are paraded on to argue these points. And
so we shouldn't go to experts.
I have one question for Jamie, though.
Yeah.
Sure. Jamie, I've got, for instance, bills to put through university, or I have to retire or something. Rather than telling me exactly, of course, and I know you're going to probably do this, but telling me what not to do, it's really important to tell the general populace what they should be doing so they can achieve those financial goals. Because really, I think that no matter what happens economically, we all have to live and eat and do all those things. So it'd be interesting.
It's going to be interesting because I'm going to tell everybody exactly what we need to do in order to survive this coming depression, because nobody is prepared for it. And people say, well, who are you? What's your background? I've called into the station, Bill, and I announced while you were away that I'm going to be the new premier. And I'm going to be the guy that teaches you that it doesn't matter who anyone is. What matters is what they're saying and whether or not it is true. And everything is going to come out. We're starting the Truth Party. That's the new party. And it's unavoidable. September 18th, everyone can come and find out.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how many people do. Thank you, Jamie.
Good luck, Jamie.
When I go to he said I bring experts on. I try to bring people on who are as knowledgeable as possible. People like Mr. Campbell, who, as he points out, does not sell real estate, but has been very successful investing in it over the years and writing about it. Sir Somerville from the Sauder School of Business at UBC, because I find them credible.
And that's the problem. Too much checking with and not enough checking into. We get told what happens and we believe what we're told because those who tell us have credibility. Nobody saw a plane hit the Pentagon. Nobody. Never happened. We were told that they did it and we believe what we were told. That's it.
Sunil Ramsey, international defense and security expert, returning our eyes to Afghanistan and Canada's efforts overseas. Jamie, hi.
Hi, Christy. Sunil, pleasure to speak with you, sir. I've actually featured you in the opening scenes of a documentary I've just completed based on a conversation we had in November.
Oh, sure.
Where we agreed that the greatest threats to Western democracy are not terrorists, but private central banks and electronic voting. And Christy, thanks for having this gentleman on. This is a man who would confirm, if pressed, that 7 of the 19 hijackers on September 11th are perfectly alive and well in the Middle East. My question, though, is two parts, sir. In your opinion, how far along are we in the Western governmental transition from democracy to fascism? And secondly, if you think that it might in fact be necessary to remove democracy altogether in order to compete geopolitically with countries like Russia and China, who don't have to check with their populations in order to make military decisions. They can just issue a statement and it's final.
Well, I think in terms of the Western world, in the case of the United States, we are pretty much, when you actually look at the constitutional changes that have already occurred, you're looking at a police state. You are in a state of fascism south of the border. There is, and it's not really in the mainstream press, admittedly, because of course they're not going to say many of these things, but there is a movement within the United States now to take back the country from the corporate bankers, the corporate elite that effectively owns the U.S. Congress. And, this isn't conspiracy theory stuff. These are known empirical facts.
With their first caller, have lost all credibility. Are you suggesting today that 7 of the bombers that went into the World Trade Center, could you say right now publicly that they're still alive?
Yes, actually it's been openly documented in the U.S. press, actually, which shows sort of what you don't seem to know, which is public knowledge. In fact, within days of the incident, a number of these individuals that were named were shown, and they clearly were the people that the Americans had claimed were supposedly on the flight. So this isn't my opinion, this is fact. Now let's put a couple of things in context here. Let's not forget that I spent a decade as a military advisor in that region, operating at a pretty high level. So I'm not offering you an opinion or an academic view. I'm offering you first-hand knowledge. Whether you choose to believe it is rather up to you. The point is, I'm simply offering you the facts. You go look them up yourself. You don't have to believe me. I'm not here to convince you one way or the other.
Jamie, go ahead.
Hi, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much time I have. Let me start off by giving you my book recommendation.
Oh, what is it? Sorry, go ahead.
Surviving the Cataclysm by Webster Tarpley.
Okay, thank you.
This is a book that has detailed in advance the exact economic collapse that we are going through, released in 1999, and then re-released last year, basically with a preface saying, I told you so, now here's what we need to do about it.
Right, yeah, okay.
You mentioned Greece and these countries that can't pay their debt. Who's going to pay for it? The answer is nobody. And we're going to have our resources seized as collateral for non-repayment. And we don't have a political party that's standing up and telling the truth. That's why I'm going to start the Truth Party, and I'm not going to be kissing babies. I'm going to be letting everybody know what's happening for real.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate that, and thank you for the book recommendation.
They say you can't have an impact on politics unless you have millions of dollars. This party has no money. That's how you know we represent the people. I'm not here to win an election. And I'm sure I don't look like a happy, smiling politician full of hope, waiting to kiss your baby. I'm here to deliver a wake-up call. Canada, United States, Europe, your liberty is hanging by a thread. We've in effect already been taken over. Banks have conspired with our governments privatize our resources, collapse our economies, and consolidate their empire. This is the turning point in human civilization.